Give yourselves a round of applause one time. So encourage people outside to come inside. Let's remind you of this is Cipriani Junction, right? So, without any more pause, we'd like to introduce on stage a very good friend of mine. Come up in the game when open mics was open up. And Owl has transcended time and space, and we are very happy to have you here tonight. So without any more pause again, I don't want to use anything else. See, I can't even pronounce it from I do. Anyway, put your hands together for Carol. What's that?
Good evening, everyone. And you're hearing me clear, so I don't need to. Good. Thank you for being here. Literature is important to us. I know, in this time we live in, there's a lot of distraction with media, especially social media. So it's good to see people come out, and media will be nowhere without literature. Anyway, we still need you to do it. So thank you all, and I hope you enjoy. The name of my book, and it's my first publication, is called Haiken Manuscript. And no, it's not set in the Caribbean, it is set in the Middle East. Most of the story happens between Pakistan and Afghanistan. So I'm just going to get straight into it. What I'm going to do is, while I'm going along, I will give you sort of a synopsis in parts, so you follow a story. So it's about this gentleman who inherits an ancient manuscript, and he's sent on a quest to return this manuscript to its place of origin. Of course, he's not from the Middle East. We don't know where he's from. The morning hung heavy, weighing down the moon, like a rat race fighting to hide the rover's sunrise, daring to steal in. Dawn arrived, but received no welcome. Instead, the armored somber rebutted any hope of vigor or vitality. Streets of morning light peeping through slivers between fabric telltale the hope of the day, coaxing everyone in the room to step out and bathe in its warmth and aliveness and promise, but they dared not. No one dared to make a merry sound or share thoughts or instructions any louder than a whisper. Mary was dead. So Mary here refers to Victor Mary, who first found the manuscript. He went in search of it. It wasn't, as far as people knew, it was a myth. And he went in search of it, spent 3 years and found it. April showers had been drenching earth for the past 3 weeks, and everywhere the ground was soggy. Out in the garden, mud swished around your shoes. Spring came, but had been pummeled by heavy rains, and the flowers and new shoots were beaten off by gusty winds and rain. It was as if the weather had taken off all her anger on days of spring. There was no gradual return of color to the landscape, or birds returning to sing and roost. Everywhere was wet and gloomy, and the sky was a dark, foreboding and threatening mass. So much so, no one left their indoors, unless it was absolutely necessary. So, Vargas, the protagonist of our story, the firstborn of Victor Mary, he eventually inherits the manuscript. So the father, Victor, left it to all his children, so that they would record this manuscript. The manuscript is really a manual for long life. So it holds the key to long life. So there's some bad guys who wants to get their hands on it. So Vargas is in his office, and then this guy shows up. His name is Michel Lacroix, a Frenchman. And he, of course, is claiming to be friend of the father, but yet Vargas never heard of this Michel Lacroix, So he realizes, and Lacroix comes to him to pay respects 3 months after the father's burial. and interestingly brings up the manuscript. So of course Barbara says, well, I don't know anything about any manuscript, you know. And of course that prompted him to take it seriously. And he made some copies in the file. He scanned it, of course, made some copies, and hid the original. Yeah. So this manuscript has instructions, and in reading the manuscript in an attempt to decode it, he comes across a ritual that's been used to manifest their ancestors. So you can call them ancestors. It's not a spooky business. It is a ritual that is fueled by love. So it ain't no zombie thing and that kind of thing, right? So no need to get scared. So then Victor appears to him and tells him, hold up, this cloud color is no good. And he needs to move the manuscript to a place where it's going to be safe. And he gives him some weird instructions. He says in 3 days, a woman is going to be on a flight, a midnight flight to India. And he needs to connect with this woman. So Marcus is all caught up and seen his father and all that. It's only when the apparition goes, then he realizes, well, wait, a midnight flight, what kind of instruction is that? That has nothing to say. Long and short is he did find a flight to India. So he ends up in India. So I'm going to just read a little bit where he meets his the contact in India. After 30 minutes at the historic monument, he felt a sudden urge to leave. The sun was warm, and there was a gentle cooling breeze. So he just strolled in the general direction of the hotel. Eventually, he found himself in a park. The sign informed him that he had entered the aircraft. He followed the winding pathway and stopped to look at the Mughal ruins. Just nearby were a few cafes and bistros. So he decided to stop for a drink and observe the people passing by. As he was going along the path towards the cafe, there was a woman heading in the opposite direction. She was simply dressed, and he thought that she looked much like an academic with a leather document portfolio bag. When she was about 6 feet away from him, a quick twisted and she went down in a heap. He rushed over to her aid and picked her up and took her across to the nearby bench. The area was shaded by trees and flanked by shrubs and other connected pathways. Are you okay here? Fine, I'm okay. Thank you for helping me. I don't understand what happened. The ground seemed to have moved, she said laughing, but quickly grimaced in pain. But she put her foot down. She tried to stand but cried out in pain and fell back onto the bench. Why not sit for a bit, Barbara suggested. Perhaps it may be better. Although I doubt you'll be able to walk right away, he said, taking a seat on the farther side of the bench out of respect. Funny thing, he thought. The rules of engagement fly out the window when there's an emergency. And then, of course, he offers to stay with her. She says, no, it's okay. He asked if, can I call it taxi for you? Because apparently she was headed to the university for a seminar. And it turns out in their little conversation, guess what his specialty is? Ancient languages. So he's thinking, of course, already, well, maybe this is the woman that his father was talking about. No, thank you, she said. I can do that. She took out the phone from her pocket, only to realize that the phone had damaged it. So, of course, she takes the help from him. He calls his taxi, and they head to the seminar that she had to do. After this, they decided to meet for lunch the next day. So they met for lunch. Now, here it is. She's talking about this manuscript, Of course, it's myth. That is the manuscript that he has. And it's myth. Everybody heard about it. Who believes in that? Just heard about it, but it's myth. It doesn't exist. And then he says to her, no, I have it. And of course, she gets all excited. So long and short, they go back to his hotel room and they're going through the manuscript because she is the expert here. He needs this done. And she says to him, So when they had stopped for dinner, Vargas explained his plan to find a path to return the manuscript to its origin because of the threat of La Clave and his society. He carefully shared part of his father's message and explained that he thought she might be the woman that the father was talking about. Benjo listened intently but did not respond. He sat on the edge of the hotel bed waiting for her to say something. Fear started growing in him. Did he share too much? Benjo got up slowly, her hand on her mouth. She walked to the window and looked out for a moment. With her finger pointing up in the air, she suddenly turned to face Vargas. She stopped. Would you do whatever it took to complete your task? He asked, looking at him in the eye. Yes, of course, I'm here, aren't I? He replied. I don't mean that. Being here is not even the beginning of this journey. She sat down at a small desk in the room. I know someone who may be able to point you in the right direction, but she's in Pakistan. So this is him leaving India to head to Pakistan. And he gets to Pakistan and he meets Benjo's friend Aisha, but she sets it up. Faisalabad was about 900 kilometers from Shamibara. That's his destination. Yeah? As the crow flies. But Vargas' journey into Balkh province was not going to be straight and simple as the crow flies. His way would be either through a war zone or a safer route via Turkmenistan.
It's over.
It's over.